If you would like to know more about breathing and how it affects movement, how these two things work together, then you'll want to watch this video. Hello, let's talk about breathing and how it relates to motion. Now you can go without water, you can go without food for a period of time, but try going without breathing. You can't do it very long. Maybe a couple minutes holding your breath. So we understand the importance of breathing, but do we understand how it relates to movement? How the muscles are affected by the breathing? The oxygenation in the entire system affected by how we breathe? Now it's true that babies are born belly breathers, full belly breathers, but within a short period of time, they start becoming chest breathers. No one really knows why. Personally, I think it's related to fight or flight. So fight or flight is that mechanism that we have in our cells that prepare the body to either fight the threat, which in the old days was the animal, or to run from it, flight. And in this process, the muscles become tight, the breath becomes shallow, preparing the body for fight or flight. Now, does it make sense that as we grow older, once we've been accustomed to this fight or flight response, and maybe we get that as we're being disciplined growing up. Johnny, stay out of the fire. Don't put your hand there. Maybe little Johnny doesn't really understand intellectually what that means, but he feels the stress. He feels it, and perhaps he develops fight or flight. So then in later days in life, later years in life, he develops that same relationship between maybe his teacher or his boss or any authority figure or anything that feels threatening, whatever the mind sees as a threat, and moves himself into fight or flight. And as adults, we constantly fight this and not always aware of how fight or flight inhibits our ability to perform. And if we develop the habit of deep breathing, then we send the message to the muscles to release and relax. And that takes us out of fight or flight. And that allows us to move more at ease. And that allows us to make better decisions because we're not feeling stressed out. Breathing is tied to the rest of the exercises that we do here, the other things we are trying to develop in our body in terms of balance, strength, and mobility. Each of these has a breathing component. If we're more relaxed, we can build balance better. If we're more relaxed, we can create more mobility in the body. If we are more relaxed, we can create strength easier. Now, how do we change from short, shallow breaths to deep breathing? Breathing is an unconscious habit. We don't think about breathing, we just breathe until the breath becomes restricted. Maybe we have a cold or some kind of infection or something along those lines where the breath is inhibited. Then you can become very aware of how we breathe. But if we take a few moments out of our busy day and just become aware of how we breathe, we can change that. Because if we move, like any habit that's unconscious, if we move from the unconscious into the conscious and examine the breath, become very aware of how we're breathing without interference, then that gives us the capacity to make those changes. And if we make those changes and practice enough, the body, in its wisdom, will start adopting a longer, deeper breath. Let's try it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to close the eyes. We're going to go inside, and we're just going to observe the breath that we have without judgment. Not thinking good or bad or right or wrong, just noticing how the breath flows. Bring your attention to your belly. And just notice that the belly rises. Does the chest expand as the lungs fill? Now let's practice a little bit of deep breathing. Let's start to manipulate the breath. So we're going to press the belly out as we bring the breath in, creating more capacity for breathing so that the lungs fill up, the chest fills up, and the belly fills up. Pause at the top and then start to release the breath slowly, bringing the belly in, pressing it against the spine. Let's try that again. Inhale. Press the belly out. Pause at the top. Exhale. Release it out. Bring the belly in. Back towards the spine. One more time. Press the belly out. Inhale. Hold it at the top. Exhale. And release it. We're going to do one more exercise in breathing. We're going to add the breathing to the movement of the body. Grab yourself a chair. We're going to bring the hands on the chair. And we're going to breathe in, press the belly out, and lift the head up and drop the belly down, pausing at the top, bringing the belly in, sucking the belly in, and rounding the back, exhaling it out. And then continue that process. Get a feel for it, how the breath works with the motion of the body. Nice and slow and easy so you can really feel what's going on as the breath flows in and out. Let's do one more time. Round the back. And lift up. So now that you have an understanding of breathing, we need to put all of these components that we just covered over the last several videos into a practice. Because if we don't put them into a practice, then that would be like reading a book on water skiing and never actually water skiing. So we need to put these things to work. And in the next video, we're going to do this. This is an introductory video. Everything will go slow and controlled, and you'll be able to follow along no matter what your age, no matter what your fitness level.